ZeeNepal HD टेलिभिजन अब तपाईं सँगसँगै।
He is the chair and the proprietor of Nepal is here, and executive televisions, and different schools teachers as well as the educators, principals. All of you welcome in SK in this hall. I hope that we will be the member of AGORA Speakers International Clubs. Around it is 70 countries AGORA clubs, they are participating and they are learning and leading in the world. And Mr. Fred Jones did this great and good jobs in Dangari, Ataria and Surkhet, Butol, Chiton, he will do in Japa, Bhadrapur, Pokhara, Kathmandu, and after that he will return Korea. When he will complete in Korea, he will return back to Australia, and all over the world he will march. He is the great person. Namaste to you all doing the great job. He is the person who is doing the great job without taking anything. We are only the host in school. We are hosting only. And being the host of Nepal city as well as Banque State, we are also grateful to all the schools. And Mr. Ravi Bhatta is the ambassador of Nepal. He is the ambassador of AGORA International Club's ambassador of Canada. We connected him and we brought him here. You can connect others ambassador in Nepal as well as in your school, and please join in these clubs and lead, communicate, and do your best performance in the world. More will be by Fred Jones, and they will show the demo. He will complement this demo. After completing this demo, he will present what is AGORA clubs and how we can join in AGORA club. And he is Toastmaster also. He is the member and he is the trained in Toastmaster also. So he will guide you, or he will path you the AGORA International as well as the Toastmasters ideas for leading, communicating, and grooming yourself as a great person and great leaders. I would like to welcome you, our Vice Principal, Bina Singh.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, respected chairperson in the former meeting leaders, guests, chief guests, special guests, press reporters, distinguished school principals, honor principals, vice principal, representative teachers, a press reporter, even a charming cameraman. Last but not the least, all our participants. Today, 2079, 12/3. Our school have only hosting the program, but the main organizer is our AGORA Speaker International, who is going to hear as the banner speak itself. So on behalf of Springdale Academy, I, Mrs. Bina Singh, a founder vice principal of this school, wants to serve you a warm and heartily welcome to all of you. First of all, I would like to request to every person, every dignitaries to have a huge round of applause for the person who has really devoted his time for making this program more successful, none other than our youth club ambassador, Mr. Fred Jones Sir. Who is really acting as a bridge between the future global leaders as well as the challenging world. Really, we all believe that speech has incredible power to express our thoughts, ideas, experiences, views, ideas, messages from one person to another. That's why we say the art of communication is the language of leadership. And that leadership is you. You are going to be a leader, you are going to be a motivator, you are going to be a very successful person, global, internationally. You are going to recognize yourself around the world. So here, when we talk about this speech, is really going to be helpful to persuade the people and to change the mind from the mode of the negativity to the mode of the positivity. It is only possible because speaker. Here always we used to say that visualization can communicate more faster than words, which banners speak everything. So please be the member of the youth club because you are going to be our future leaders. So here I can see all the participants, they are very much tensed over here. They are having a too much heartbeat is going to be increased over here. But please, I request all the participants to take a heavy sigh of relief. Be confident on you, whatever you have prepared. Don't take attention because winning and losing is a part of the game or winning and losing is a part of the program. Here, you have to be confident on yourself. I want to convey a short message to all the participants because you are going to showcase your talent. I want to convey a short message and that message, always do your best and your best can change the world. Thank you very much by saying
Thank you, Vice Principal Bina ma'am, and I don't want to be a delay one. Mr. Feds, now you can start your AGORA club's walk. Go ahead. Thank
you. It's me, Nilay Podis from class 9, standing over here as the meeting leader. So, I welcome every respected guest, spectator and my fellow participants. So, without any delay, I want to start this meeting by reading out the roles and the duties of each member. So let's start with me. Meeting leader. As the meeting leader of this meeting, I will start and finish the meeting on time. I will follow the agenda and introduce the roles and the speakers of this day. It is requested that all attendees please practice listening and watching. Only those who are either presenting in front of this meeting or answering questions shall speak. At the end of the meeting, I will close the meeting. Thank you.
Namaste to everyone. It's me, Indusama from the class 5. As you know, I'm the filler word counter. My job is to listen when others are talking for when they say or and other words such as you, no, like, okay, well and so. When I hear any of this, I will count the number of times each person says them during the meeting. I will also count the number of times each person starts a sentence with and. Near the end of the meeting, I will report on who said these extra words and
And as a hot question evaluator, I give feedback to the hot question master and the speakers. I mention what was done well and make any suggestion from further improvement.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Swan Sharma from grade 9, as playing the role of hot questions master. As hot questions master, I'll prepare some topics to ask during the hot questions speaking section. The purpose of this is to provide an opportunity to practice speaking on any given topic. This helps us to think quickly in preparing a mini speech about a topic. It helps us to learn how to express our ideas clearly. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Rojan Shrestha from grade 6, as playing the role of thought of the day. So, for the thought of the day, I will show or tell you about something that I think everyone will enjoy. Often, I will keep it a secret about what I will do.
A very good afternoon to everyone. His standing is Mr. Wasim, who belongs to grade 10. Today I am here as a prepared speaker. As being a prepared speaker, I will deliver a speech during the meeting. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Nisabata from grade 9, and I am a prepared speaker. As a prepared speaker, I will deliver a speech during the meeting. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Rajiv Khatri from grade 9, and I'm here as a speech evaluator for this meeting. So, as a speech evaluator, I am responsible for listening carefully to the speech I am evaluating. When called upon, I will report on the positive aspect of the speech and make some suggestions for improvement. I will begin my report emphasizing the most positive aspect of the speech. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Nina Sekar from Standard 5. As a playing role of speech evaluator, I am responsible for listening carefully to the speech I am evaluating. When called upon, I will report on the positive aspects of speech and make some suggestions for improvement. I will end my report emphasizing the most positive aspects of it.
As a grammar reader, it is my duty to listen everything said during the meeting. I will note and report good use of grammar and or many poor grammar. I will give a report on what I heard. Thank you.
From Standard 10, stand in front of you as a role of meeting evaluator. So, as a meeting evaluator, I am in charge of the evaluator meeting, part of the meeting. The purpose of this is to provide helpful feedback about the meeting. To help me, I have a team made of timer, grammarian, and filler word counter. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all of you. It's me, Ashraf from grade 9, and I am standing here as a timer. As timer, it is my duty to time hot question speeches and prepared speeches, also the evaluation during the meeting. For example, during the hot question speakers, the speaker has 1 minute, and I will show green card at 40 seconds, yellow card at 45 seconds, and red card at 1 minute. Once the red card is displayed, the speaker should finish their talk within 30 seconds. I will time any prepared speeches and speech evaluation. When called upon, I will give a report on it. Thank you.
Meeting by Rojan Shrestha as the thought of the day.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Rojan Shrestha from grade 6, standing in front of you as the thought of the day. And I would like to thank the Mr. Meeting Leader for calling me here. So, without any delay, I would like to tell you the thought of the day. So, today my thought is about imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Your imagination is the ability that you have to form pictures or ideas in your mind of the things that are new and exciting or the things that you have not experienced. Imagination is the production or simulation of novel objects, ideas of the mind, novel object sensations and ideas of the mind without playing and without an immediate input of senses. Imagination can also be expressed through stories such as fairy tales and fantasies. Children often use such narratives and pretend play in order to exercise their imagination. Imagination, however, is not considered to be an exclusively or cognitive activity because it is also linked to the body and place. Particularly, it also involves setting relationships with material and people, precluding the sense that imagination is locked away in the head. So this much for my speech, and I would like to thank all of you, including the chief guest, parents, principals, and principal teachers, and all of my friends for listening my speech. So have a great day, and once again thank you.
Thank you very much, young man. So let's continue with Saugat Singh as the prepared speaker number 1.
Thank you, meeting leader, for announcing my name. A very good afternoon, namaste, to the ladies and gentlemen, respected personalities, social workers, chief guests, spectators, and my lovely fellows. Standing with me, Saugat Singh, which belongs to grade 10. Today I am feeling very glad because I have got a golden opportunity, chance to speak in front of you on my right topic, human resource development. Now, without getting any delay, now I am going to enter to my topic, and I heartily requested everyone, please listen it very carefully. Human resource refers to the human power or skill or knowledge required for carrying out any developmental work. It is also known as the workforce or the human force, or also known as the mind power. As we know that the human resource is divided into the 3 categories on the basis of the skills, and they are unskilled, semi-skilled, and skilled. For the development of a nation, every 3 types of the human resource are equally important. If a country can do the proper management and the development of all 3 types of the human resource, then that country can be the best and the most developed country in the world. Actually, the human resource development refers to the preparation and the production of the human resource for any developmental work. It is also known as the framework for equipping the employees with their personal or the organizational skill, knowledge, abilities for the better outcome of an organization. As we know that there are the several importance of the human resource development. Among them, some of them are: human resource should be developed so that they can be utilized or recruited as per the needs and the necessities. They should be developed to fulfill the supply of the needs of the human resource in the market. Human resource should be developed to increase their efficiency, because human resource, the various activities performed for the development of the human resource motivates them, and due to the motivation, the efficiency increases. As we know that if the efficiency increases, then the productivity of an organization also increases. In the other hand, human resource management refers to the process of hiring, developing the employees, and treating them as the valuable assets. It includes the activities like empowering the human resource, treating them as the valuable assets, fair recruitment, providing the training and the opportunities, and providing the proper salaries or the employees' remuneration. As we know that in the context of Nepal, there is no lack of the human resource, but there is not the proper management and the development of the human resource. There are the several challenges for the human resource development. Some of them are poor scopes and the platform for the job, no having the scientific education, not having the practical education. Nepal is in the underline of the poverty. As we know that there is the solution for every types of the problems. There is also a golden opportunity and a golden solution for these problems, and some of them are explained below. We can manage the human resource by the following ways. We have to manage the human resource. At first, the human resource management should produce the capable and the competitive human resource by enhancing the skills and the knowledge. Human resource management should produce the employees by knowing the demand of the market. Scientific and the practical knowledge should be given. Every vocational training and the vocational education should be job oriented. If all this thing is done, and if the leadership programs are launched time to time, and it develops the leadership skills, it develops the leadership skill as well as the entrepreneurship skills. If we do all these things, then our country can be the most powerful country, because if the humans are powerful, our country can easily be the powerful country in the world. By saying this, at last but not the least, I would like to thank AGORA Speaker International for providing this opportunity, and I would like to special thanks to the Mr. Fred Jones for providing these opportunities. By saying this, I want to depart from here. Have a nice day. Thank you.
That was a really nice speech. Now it's the turn of speech. Prepared speaker number 2, Mr. Nishchal Bhatta. So,
Good afternoon, everyone. It's me, Nishchal Bhatta from grade 9, standing in front of all of you to share some of my words regarding leadership skills. Before starting my speech, I would like to thank AGORA Speakers International, and especially I would like to thank Mr. Fred Jones for organizing this English and Communication Skill Boost program, which personally for me helped me a lot to build my confidence. Now coming back to the speech, leadership is a critical skill which is essential for success in all aspects of life, including personal, professional, and social settings. Leadership is not just about having authority over others. It's about inspiring and motivating others to achieve their goals and work together towards a common vision. Effective leaders are not only those who are knowledgeable and skilled, but they are also good communicators, empathic listeners, and have a clear understanding of their team's strength and weakness. One of the most critical aspects of leadership is the ability to inspire and motivate others. A great leader understands what motivates their teammates and inspires them to work together and achieve their goal. They also provide guidance, support, and feedback to help their teammates achieve their goal. Leadership is about building and making strong relationships. Good leaders understand the importance of effective communication and active listening. According to a wise man, a good leader is someone who takes more of his share of blame and takes less of his share of credit. Another essential leadership skill is the ability to adapt to change. Leaders need to be flexible and adaptable, and to navigate challenges and find creative solutions to problems. There are many examples of great leaders throughout the history who demonstrated exceptional leadership skills. I would like to talk a little bit about them. First of all, I would like to start with Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi was a political and spiritual leader who used non-violent resistance to lead India to freedom from British rule. He inspired millions of people all over the country to work together and achieve this goal of freedom. Another great leader with exceptional leadership skill is Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was a revolutionary South African who also became the first black president of that country. He demonstrated remarkable leadership skills in his fight against racial discrimination. As he was black himself, he also faced many racial discrimination. So from his childhood, he worked against this racial discrimination, and his efforts to reconcile the nation following his release from prison were instrumental in ending apartheid. Now, at last, I would like to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. The King was a Baptist minister and civil rights activist who played a key role in American civil rights movement. He is known for his advocacy of non-violent release and his inspiring speeches, including his famous "I Have a Dream" speech. In conclusion, leadership is a critical skill which is essential for success in all aspects of life. As I talked recently, effective leaders inspire and motivate others, build strong relationships, communicate effectively and adaptable to change. Let us all strive together to build leadership skill and become the best leader we can be. Thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everything you said was correct. And let's continue this meeting with Mr. Sushant Sharma for asking some questions as the hot question master. Thank you.
Thank you, meeting leader. As I had already introduced, it's me Sushant, and today I am very glad as I am the hot questions master, which is only possible due to AGORA speakers. So it is my duty to ask a question about a particular topic. So here it is. Why do you think that English language is so important in this 21st century? I would like to ask to the candidates right over here. Why do you think that English language is so important in this 21st century? Anyone?
Because nowadays most of the students are going to the Arab countries, and it is necessary to speak English in the Arab countries, and it helps us to speak English in Arab countries, so that's why it is important.
Oh, thank you for your response. In the same way, the next question is that, can you briefly explain me about your dream country that you want to visit once in your life?
As for myself, I think that Italy is a great destination to visit once in a life. I love their culture, their dances, their nightlife, and everything such as coastal beaches.
Thank
so, in my list, the Italy is top tier.
Okay, thank you. Now, lastly, I would like to ask that, will you please tell me your life-changing book that influenced in your life?
Well, as per my choice, the most life-changing book I have ever read is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. It is because it offers the universal teaching. It means that anybody in the world can learn the Bhagavad Gita and can gain the knowledge which is inside him. Number 2 is practical wisdom. As we know that the practical wisdom is very important to be successful in life. So such wisdom can we get from the Bhagavad Gita. So we have to read the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And next thing is self-realization. As we know that most powerful things in the world becomes unsuccessful and comes to street due to their self-doubt. Most of the youth in the world are suffering from the anxiety and depressions. As we know that Bhagavad Gita deals to solve such type of problems and provides us opportunity to self-realization. It inspires us. It is timelessness. It means that it is relevant in every period of time, in every generation. So it could be the best book.
Thank you for your great words. Lastly, I would like to thank every candidate for your golden words and for your active participation too. Now I would like to hand over this meeting control to the meeting leader. Have a great day. Thank you.
That was very fun. And thank you. Now it's the turn of meeting evaluator to take the control of this meeting.
Thank you, meeting evaluator. As I have already introduced in front of you all, so I have told you that I have a team made of timer, grammarian, and filler word counters. So firstly, I would like to call grammarian for his words. Hello everyone, it's me Roshan Paul from grade 5. As a grammarian, it is my role to note the grammarian. The thought of the day was very good. His thought was also very nice, but he was saying the word again and again. I would like to say, don't do it again. It will definitely benefit you. Next, speaker number one was very good. He was not doing that grammatical mistake. I would like to say, keep it up. You will be definitely success. Speaker number 2 was also very good. He was saying very confidently. He was not doing grammatical mistake. And I would like to also say that he was doing very best. very good in next time delivery. His voice was also very clear. For saying this much, I would like to end my grammar year report.
First of all, I would like to thank meeting evaluator for handing over this meeting to me. As I have introduced myself already, I am the speech evaluator for this meeting, and I am going to evaluate the meeting. I'm going to evaluate the speech of the speaker number 1. So I would like to start my evaluation report. So first, talking about the opening of the speech, the topic of the speech was human resource development. I think he chose really good topic, and the introduction and the greeting was really good. Talking about his word and pronunciation, I think he was really good at that, and the tone was also clear from his mouth, and his pace of the speech was also really fast, and the voice was also loud. I think everyone could hear his voice from the back as well. And I also noticed some flaws in his speech. One flaw I noticed is his eye contact. I think he could have more eye contact to the listeners so that it can create more interaction with the listeners. It is really necessary to have eye contact to the listeners in order to have more interaction. And another thing I noticed is his hand gestures. I think he could have more hand gestures so that it can be more good. And another thing that I can say is that about his conclusion, I think he can conclude his speech really better, but I think the conclusion was not that good. And talking about his timing, the maximum time given to the speaker was 5 minutes, but 5 minutes he took 4 minutes 6 seconds, and I think he utilized his time wisely. And as his purpose was to inform how to improve human resource, I think he is successful to achieve his purpose. At last, I would like to suggest him to improve his pace and pronunciation of the words, and as I said before, his eye contact and gestures. And the best part I liked about him was his confidence and the word delivery. Thank you.
I like the most about the speech is hand gesture and his confidence, and he had loud and clear voice, and his speech topic name is leadership, and I like his topic, and I suggest him to keep it up, and he take long time for his speech. Thank you.
Meeting evaluator. Hello and namaste to everyone present here, all the presenters. It's me Angel Sama from class 5, and all know I'm the filler word counter. When I hear only those of these, I will count the number of times each person who said and other many words. So I will also count the number of times each person starts a sentence with and the report is here. It is meeting leader 2 times and hot question evaluator 0 times and hot question master 1 times and the speech evaluator first 1 times and good. Speaker number 1 2 times 8. Speaker number 2 2 times critical and 2 times it and Speech evaluator second 2 times she said I like most and I like most. Grammarian 2 times and thought of the day 2 times and double will. Thank you for all listening my all the reports. As I all know, I will give some feedbacks, and the feedbacks is you should be confident and ignore about all your haters. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the word counter. Likewise, I would like to call hot question evaluator for his opinion.
Thank you, meeting evaluator, for giving me in charge of this meeting. And now I would like to evaluate the hot question that our speaker said. As in the asking section of the question master, he did an amazing job. He did really good eye contacts. Overall, he was confident. His every word was clear. His third question was also very deep that contestants can give a long answer about. Like our contestant give an answer about 1 minute. That was the longest you could give. About the participant, he told us many good things. He really made my job hard in finding any mistakes, but I found it anyway. There is an absence of enough accent. He could work in it, and I think it would be better if he would improve it next time.
Thank you so much, question evaluator. Now, I would like to call the timer for his timing report.
Thank you, meeting evaluator. As I told, I will give the timer report at the end of the meeting. And the opening of the meeting leader, he took 27 seconds, and the thought of the day took 1 minute and 34 seconds. Speaker 1 took 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Speaker 2 took 4 minutes and 7 seconds. 1 second more than the speaker number 1. And the speaker number 1 evaluator took 2 minutes and 25 seconds. And speaker number 2 evaluated took 31 seconds, and the hot question master responder number 1 took 12 seconds to respond, and took 16 seconds to respond, and responder number 3 took 1 minute and 3 seconds to respond, and the hot question evaluator took 49 seconds to evaluate the hot question master, and the grammarian took 1 minute and 4 seconds to give the report of grammarian, and the filler word counter to 1 minute and 40 seconds for her report. Thank you. It was my report. Thank you.
So thank you so much, timer, for giving your report. Now it's my turn. Firstly, this is the best platform to develop our communication and a good skill of speaking English. And as all student presentation was good and better than previous one, and I enjoyed this program a lot. But there was support of our sir. Firstly of all, I will start with the positive aspects, as we're getting much longer time for the preparation. The speakers are also preparing lengthy speeches today. Previously it was even less than a minute, while now they are making uses of their valuable time. And firstly, I would like to talk about the speaker number 1. His hand structure was better. He was more confident while speaking. He managed the time and include more better things about SGI, which was about Human Resource Index. Likewise, speaker number 2. He was handing the pole of this desk. It was a quite funny thing he have done. His eye contact was better. His hand structure was less but good. His confidence was also good. He tried more better. Likewise, our hot question master. He asked very good questions to all the members, and he was quite better than previous. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to return the control of the meeting to the meeting leader. Thank you so much.
Opinion. Every fellow participant did a great job handling this meeting, and well, that was due to Mr. Fredkins, and I thank him very much. So it is the end of this meeting. Thanks everyone for coming here and attending this meeting.
About leadership really resonated with me for the simple reason, when they mentioned Nelson Mandela, I lived in South Africa for 22 years, and Nelson Mandela was in jail all of that time. So when he got out of jail and became the leader that he demonstrated he was quite amazing, and he is as far as I'm concerned, one of the best leaders. Nelson Mandela was once asked, where did he learn his skills as a leader? And he gave the story of his father was a chief. And when all the people in the village met, they went and they sat in a circle. And then they all would discuss the issues in the community. So when they would discuss everything in the community and they were all in a circle, his father, who was the chief, would be the last person to speak. And that means his father was a leader who listened. And listening is one of the best skills we can have. Because if you're a good listener, you know what other people are thinking, and then you can become a good leader. Today I want to explain to you what you saw and why what you saw was so important in the skills in the world. Now, you all recognize the flag. It is a unique flag in the world. I have a habit that when I hear people speaking, I stop speaking. And it's something I've been trying to teach the young people here. When you are in charge of a meeting and you are speaking, everyone else should try and listen. Because as I said, Nelson Mandela indicated best people in the world, the leaders, listen. And you cannot learn if you're talking when somebody else is talking. Because if you're talking, how can you listen? I have not found out a way to do that. So this is something that I've been trying to drill into the young people in the past week. Only one person in charge of the meeting. The person in front is the person speaking. And if you came here to listen and learn, then don't speak. And if you do want to speak, either come up here or, leave the meeting and go outside. It's something that they started practicing and became very good at compared to what they used to be. So I want to explain to you why I'm showing a flag of Nepal. First of all, it's unique and has a lot of meaning to you in the country, as every flag does, as my flag in Canada does to me. So it's very meaningful and it's very indicative of who you are and what you are, and you're very proud of your flag and your country. And I want to share with you that I say I have brought a gift for the people in Nepal, particularly for the young people who are the future leaders of this country. And this gift is from AGORA Speakers International. And it is free. I just want to inform you that AGORA is a non-profit organization. No one gets paid. I don't get paid. We're all volunteers. It costs nothing to join. It costs nothing to start a club. All the materials are available freely on the internet. So there are no fees involved at all. So you don't think I'm trying to sell anything. The only thing I'm trying to sell is these skills that young people and adults can learn from AGORA are invaluable. And that's the purpose of my speech today, to try and inform you why it is so important, particularly today, more so than it was in the previous generations. So AGORA empowers you to become a brilliant communicator and a confident leader who will actively build a better world. And that mission is very meaningful, and I see it every day when I work with people in AGORA. It helps them improve their communication skills, they learn leadership skills, and we promote working with projects in their schools, in their communities, in their country, and in the world. Now, the reason I said to you it's so important today, more so than any time, is the world is changing more rapidly than it ever has. I mean, when I grew up, there's a picture of me. I think I was 2 years old. And whoops, that was me too, but let me show you this one. Oh, I'm pushing the wrong button. Okay, I'll get it right yet. Sorry. Oh, I got rid of the, sorry. Let me start the slideshow again. this will work. Now if I push this one, that is me there. I was about 2 years old, but just look at that car. You don't see cars like that anymore. That was in the 1940s, when I was 2 years old. There was a world war going on. I wasn't aware of a world war going on when I grew up because there was hardly any communication. There was no television when I grew up. This was in Canada, in a small community in northern Ontario in Canada. There was no television until 1956. That's when television, or 1955, I think it arrived. We didn't have a television set, it was expensive. So the world has changed dramatically. Today, the young people face all sorts of challenges, all sorts of things that are happening quicker and quicker. There was no computers when I grew up, no internet, no social media, none of the things that are facing the young people. I started in the computer industry in 1979 in South Africa, and it was worked on a mainframe computer that cost over $1 million, and it took the size of probably this school. And this cell phone today is many times more powerful than that $1 million computer. And in a few years' time, we'll be laughing about these things. Remember these smartphones we had to carry around? It won't be like that in the next few decades. The world is changing so quickly. There's artificial intelligence. Most of you have heard about ChatGPT. That's just the start of it. They're working on self-driving vehicles, truck drivers, bus drivers. Your own cars ultimately will drive themselves. All sorts of areas. Robotics are coming. So it's been predicted that the jobs the young people will be doing by the time they grow up and they're an adult, 65% of those jobs don't even exist. So how do you learn how to do jobs that don't exist? Well, I believe there's certain skills that will make you employable and people will want to work with you. And those skills aren't readily taught in many places. And some of those skills are taught in AGORA Speakers International. So this can ensure that young people and adults can be successful as the world changes more and more rapidly. That was another picture when I was 2 years old, but it's a terrible picture. But that was me sitting on a car. And I was wearing a hat as well. It seems I like wearing hats. In the first picture I wore one there and I'm still wearing hats. So that's something we have in common. Now, speaking in front of people is very nerve-wracking. It's not easy. A lot of people hate it. When I was young and I was in school, if the teacher asked me a question, I wanted to crawl under the desk. I did not want to get in front of people and speak. In fact, one teacher said to me, if you don't come and get up front and talk, you're going to fail. So my brain said, I guess I'm going to fail because I'm not getting up in front of class and talk in front of you. And I was like that. It took me many years to learn, and I only learned when I was an adult. And I wish I had somewhere to go when I was young to learn those skills. Well, now there's AGORA Speakers International for young people as well as for adults. These are two books that came out many years ago. I think the first book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, was around 1988, 1989. The second book, The 8th Habit, From Effectiveness to Greatness, was around 2004. So those books are around for quite a while. And there are other books over the ages saying, what makes people successful? What makes people effective? And they listed certain attributes. Now, I won't go through all of them. It's not very clear on here. But for example, you begin with the end in mind. Okay, what are my goals? What are we trying to achieve? Put first things first, working on priorities. Think win-win. It's not about me winning and being better than you. Let's all of us benefit. Let's help each other. Let's collaborate. Let's work together. Also, seek first to understand. then be understood. And that's what Nelson Mandela was saying. First, listen to others, understand what they think, what their opinions are. And then you can give your opinion, as his father taught him. Those are sort of the examples. Synergize is working with others, and sharpen the saw is another example of always learning, constant learning, lifelong learning. I'm an old man and I'm still learning. In fact, I learn a lot from the young people that I work with. It's highly invigorating. The eighth habit, in my opinion, has got to do with the speech today that we heard, was leadership. Find your voice and inspire others to find theirs. And that's what we do in AGORA. And my definition, I love the speech today about leadership. I didn't know what the speech is. I hadn't heard the speech before. In fact, none of this was really set, and we never practiced anything. This is what they did. It wasn't what we planned and we, just choreographed it or set it up. They did what they wanted. I wasn't aware about the speech, but that speech about leadership made me think about my favorite definition of leadership. And everyone in here can practice this definition. Because you don't have to be a leader of many people. You can be a leader of one person and you're a leader. It could be somebody in your family. It could be a friend. And this is the definition that I think was one of the best definitions. If your actions inspire, just wait for them to read. If your actions inspire others to dream more, to learn more, to do more, and become more, you are a leader. And that's quite simple. Maybe there's somebody that you think has a skill. Maybe you think they could be a good singer or a good musician or something, maybe even a sportsman, maybe a football player, and you want to encourage them and you help them. And so you make them dream more that they could become a good singer or whatever it is that you think you could help them with. And then once you have planted that seed that they dream more, they learn more how they could possibly do it. Maybe you want to practice with them because practicing is how you become better in anything. And then, guess what? They do more because now they're practicing and they put that into practice and they continue and then they become more. And if you help anyone, you are a leader. To me, that's a definition, and that's why I really enjoyed that speech about particularly Nelson Mandela when you mentioned that. I also want to mention this. It's something that I've come across in my travels in the last 20 years of working with young people. And I think it's something, if you are working with young people should be aware of these 8 attributes. The lady who did this research and is still continuing, I'll show you a slide with her of her and how you can probably reach out to her if you are interested. She worked in the industry and was in business, and she watched a lot of people come out of school and said, they're struggling to work. They're not trained. They might be brilliant. They can work in the environment. They've learned a lot. They're full of information, but they can't work with other people. And so she looked into what are the skills that make someone successful, similar to the 7 habits of highly successful people. These are the core attributes she studied, and she's written a lot of information about it. And I believe, of all the things I've read, she has written some excellent articles. And so she says everybody has to be empathetic, working and considering other people, being curious, trying to use that imagination that was spoken about in our thought of the day. Sociability, working and joining. People are important in our life, not only our family, our friends, but our co-workers, everyone in our community. Resilience. If it doesn't work the first time, let's try again. So there's a great book written by Carol Dweck, where the big impact was made on students. There's no such thing as failing. And they convince, oh, I'll never do it. The 2 words that are magic are not yet. Okay, so I didn't do it yet. Not yet. And that's resilience. So what? You didn't do it the first time? Well, you'll be better the next time. Self-awareness, what knowing your strengths and weaknesses. Integrity, you don't use, I guess, Chat GPT to write your essays for you in school, because you're not gaining anything by doing that. Maybe you can use it to help you. I used it the other day to write a speech, I must admit. But I only had 10 minutes, and they said, hey, can you do a speech in 10 minutes? And I said, yeah. So I went on ChatGPT, asked what the change has been since the 1940s, and then I knew when Sputnik went up, and when the computers were created, and when the internet was created, and so I had a speech. At least ChatGPT couldn't give the speech, I still had to deliver it. Resourcefulness. If you find something, maybe ChatGPT is the right thing to use in certain cases. Creativity. Look for alternative ways. Just because we've always done it that way, there may be a better way. So those 8 things, those 8 attributes is available on Roots of Action. I spoke to the grade 11 and 12s the other day, and one of them the next day said, I went online and I went to Roots of Action and I did their survey. There's surveys for children from the age of 10 to 17. There's surveys for adults. There's surveys for even younger people than 10. That's the family. And you can then look and see on those 8 attributes how well you are, how strong you are. And it gives you a ranking between 1 and 5. 5 is you're very good and 1 is you're very weak. And so you can see where your strengths are and where your weaknesses are. And you can use this in schools and see where you can help people work on it, and they can get mentors to help them in a certain area. Maybe they're not resourceful, but maybe they're curious, whatever they are. And this is research that she's been doing, and it's free, it doesn't cost anything, and it's available. So Roots of Action is the website, and I would highly recommend it because it tells you what you can work on to be a person that can be useful in the community. So now I want to talk a little bit about AGORA. This is an example of a group that I worked with in Canada for many years. This is quite an old picture because the young girl sitting here, Mariam, that's her sister Tesnim. I won't go through all the names because I got to know them very well. And you'll see some of them. There's a joke master, which we often have. There's a word master, those sort of things. Those are the roles, and they practice. Now, Miriam is now, she was 9 when she started, she's now 16 and she's in high school, and there's no club there, so she's trying to start a club in her school. So, because Miriam says, I think this is valuable, I want my friends to do it as well. So even young people can start a youth club. It doesn't need an adult. I know of there's a young girl in Indonesia who's also starting a youth club. So with that, I will say the other things we learn is the agenda. Every meeting needs an agenda. Often there's so many meetings in the world and they come and say, oh, we got a problem, let's talk about it. But there's no agenda. Nobody's been asked to do certain things and there's a lot of waste of time. One of my favorite books is written by a Canadian and it tells you how meetings are terrible, but how you can make them better. And that is so true. I've been to many companies who say one of their biggest problems are meetings with no agendas. You'll see today we had some roles. I will go through some of the roles. No, we didn't do all the roles today. But the one in pink is Hot Questions Master. That is learning one thing, impromptu speaking. Often in the world we want to know how to answer questions. You get interviewed by television sometimes. In fact, they knocked on my door this week and I wasn't expecting them and they started asking me questions. So at least I can answer questions. I've practiced. This is where you practice. Where do you do this? Well, maybe the teacher asks you a question in class. Maybe you're looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend and they ask you, where were you born in something? And you don't know how to talk and you go, oh, I don't know how I'll go. Well, if that's the way you talk, they might say, well, I don't know if I'm really interested in that boy or girl. You know, but this is practice. So we practice impromptu speaking, and we also practice speaking in front of people. The meeting leader, the word of the day, the speeches, the thought of the day, the joke master that we often have. These are the people who practice speaking in front of people. And the more you practice anything, the better you get. And then the most important area, not only the impromptu speaking, but the prepared speeches, is the evaluations. Evaluations is an important leadership skill. You want to learn how to assist people to become better. And if you just criticize them and say, oh, that was a terrible speech, you are terrible, you got to get better, what's wrong with you, can't you speak? That's not going to help them. But if you say to them, I liked your speech, I thought it was well organized, however, you kept on looking at the ceiling, use more eye contact. Or as I've seen with the young people, and I used to do this when I first started, I started pacing. In fact, I saw one young girl this week, she was kicking her foot as she was pacing. She didn't know she was doing that, but it looked like she's dancing. But she's nervous. So I remember my first speech when people say you were pacing. I didn't know I was doing it. I was nervous. They said, just try and keep your feet in one place. If you move, move with purpose. Don't just move. It can be distracting. Those are the sort of things. But overall, I thought your speech, so you end on a positive manner. That can be so helpful in many places, even in your family. There's something you want to suggest a change, and you think you want to do it. Don't come and say, I don't want to do that, I hate that. Say, Mom and Dad, maybe there's something that we could look at. I saw this, and I thought maybe we could try it. And you give it in a positive manner, and you say, well, I mean, even if we can't do it, or we could, well, at least you listen to me, maybe someday we can. It's a different approach. And it's the same when you find somebody at work, or somebody in school, or somebody, a friend of yours, who does something that you want to say it would help them become better. And the objective is that everybody helps each other. So evaluation, as you see, is an important part of AGORA speakers, learning how to help people improve. And we all help each other. I always say this, at this point in time, that if you have two people of equal skills in any field, they can write an exam in, I don't know, chemistry, science, engineering, they're a doctor, a lawyer, whatever, and they can pass the exam and get 100%. They're both equally smart in that field. But the one person can talk to others, share their ideas, listen, communicate, and collaborate and help each other. This is the person who is more successful and has a happier life than this person who knows everything but can't talk to other people, can't share their ideas, and sometimes they're so smart they think everybody else is dumb. I've heard that too. They say, what's wrong with you? Don't you know about that? That's not the way you collaborate. These are the people other people want to work with. That's the people they hire. That's the people they're looking for. Because the world is changing so much. They need people who can help solve the problems that never have been in the world before, because the world's changing. And these are the skills that will ensure that you have a more successful and happier life than just knowing everything. Because artificial intelligence, robotics, etc. are impacting all that information. It's these soft skills that make a big difference. And you can just go on almost any job market and ask, what are they looking for? They're looking for team players who can contribute to the team, not right individuals only. So that's why these skills are so important. And in addition, which is something we don't cover in the week that I'm here, is if you set up a club, there are club leaders, and the one I highlighted here is the Vice President of School and Community Leadership, looking for projects they can do in the community or in the school. And we only touch the surface what I'm talking about. There's a lot of information in AGORA speakers. Items on there such as Today We Travel To, which is it's not a travel log, I can assure you. Media analysis, Project of the Month, debating, crossfire, where people are firing questions at you. You have to solve you have to protect your view. People are saying, why do you believe that? I don't agree with you. And you have to say, this is why I agree. Learning those skills and language games and speech analysis, it's all available in AGORA, but we don't start there. We grow into it as we go. The basics is what you saw today. And with that, we find that we become creative people. We find we become a leader. And with public speaking alone, if you ever look up, I just Googled this and said, what are the benefits of public speaking? Career advancement, boost your confidence, critical thinking, personal development, improve communication skills, make new social connections, personal satisfaction, expand your network, learn to persuade, and build leadership skills. That is what Google told me, and I think I agree with it, because having learned that, a lot of that is, I would not be doing what I'm doing today in front of you if I hadn't learned these skills. And this is something that I've added here since I came to Nepal. I've been talking to people, and I've heard more often than not, so many of you have family members living in other countries. There's a brain drain, apparently, in Nepal. The young people go, and they go to Australia, Canada, United States, and other countries to study, and then they live there, because there's more opportunities for them. And I lived in South Africa for 22 years, and I got homesick. And that's why I went back to Canada after 22 years. And you can't tell me that the people who are living from Nepal, or living in other countries, do not wish they could have been here and stay here with their family, their friends, and their country. But English, I think, is a key that can open the door to many young people. Because with the internet, the way it's happening, and the satellites that are going up, Elon Musk is putting up Starlink, you can get internet anywhere in the world. And I know of companies now that have no head office. The one company I know has 2,000 employees, and I think it was at least 90 different countries. People are working for them, earning good money from an American company, and they still live in their own country. So I believe that English is a key. My daughter in Australia was in charge of the, in a large bank, in charge of the computer security. And she had people in Australia working for her, the Philippines working for her, and India. And she indicated to me some of the best people she had were from India and the Philippines. And those people were earning good money, working for an Australian company, living in their own country. And I don't see any reason why not the same could not happen in Nepal. Especially English is a skill. Unfortunately, it's English. It was those crazy British people who colonized half of the world, and now their language is a universal language. Actually, I think it would have been easier if it was Spanish, because I think personally Spanish is probably an easier language. Not that I speak it, but the little bit I know, it looks an easier language than English. But English is the one we happen to have. And as it says, it increases the chances of getting a good job in a multinational company, your home country, or for finding work abroad. The language of international communication, for the media and the internet and socializing, entertainment, and work. So I would suggest that AGORA isn't only in English. AGORA is available in a multitude of languages. It's also available in Nepali. You could have Nepali speaking clubs. However, I think the benefit is doing it in English. If you can learn to speak English, I will show you a video about 2 minutes long of a girl from Indonesia. And I'm going to try and show it to you now. And just listen to her English and listen how well she speaks. And I can tell you something about her, that she hated English at first. Her mother was an English teacher, and there's a speech I have of her which I won't play for you, but she said, I hated English. I used to speak to my mother and say, I don't understand what you're saying, speak Indonesian to me. But listen to how well she speaks now.
Ever since I was little, I have always been that huge chatterbox. Or at the very least, someone who had an uncontrollably loud voice. Every time I talked, every time I cried, the people on the other end of the house would be able to hear me clearly. And not gonna lie, it was a big nuisance at the time. My parents, however, saw it as an opportunity for growth and took me to a bunch of public speaking clubs for me to look. And that's when I fell in love with the stage. At that time, I was 14 years old, and most of the clubs we visited were for adults only. However, despite my age, they still welcomed us with open arms, giving me the opportunity to share, network, and watch how professional speakers presented their ideas. And from there, I was fortunate to have stumbled upon AGORA Speakers Community, the chance to be part of a public speaking youth club. It has been a fun roller coaster ride, from developing my personal skills, taking on leadership roles, to, most importantly, meeting new friends with a bunch of different backgrounds. I was able to find a safe space where I get to tremor my voice and do a whole bunch of things in bettering myself as a person. And one of the best parts of it all is watching the people grow. Many started off being shy, timid, not being able to say a word on stage. But now I've seen plenty of them coming out of their tiny little cocoons and bringing themselves confidently on stage without feeling worried. The reason is because one of the strong messages that I took away from my youth club, and that is to make mistakes. Because by making mistakes, that is where we get the true learning experience. So, don't be afraid to try. Take that window of opportunity and start speaking.
So, as ambassador for Canada, there are forums here. If you are interested in learning more about AGORA, please give me your information and we'll send you a link so you can find the information about AGORA. And if you have any questions, I am the ambassador not only for Canada but for AGORA Speakers Youth Programs around the world. And as I started saying to you, our mission is to empower you to become a brilliant communicator, a confident leader who will actively build a better world. So if you're interested, please give me that form and clearly write your email address, because sometimes I've got some and I couldn't decipher the email address, so make sure it's very clear. And I think the reason I'm here is I believe that Nepal, if they adopt AGORA speakers and the young people become what I think they can become, if the young people become what I think they can become, other countries will say to me, Fred, come and tell us what you did in Nepal, and because I want to spread this around the world as much as I can. So that's why I'm here, so you can help me spread the word. Thank you very much for your time.
ZeeNepal HD टेलिभिजन अब तपाईं सँगसँगै